Canada, the UK, Australia, Norway, and New Zealand announced they are sanctioning Israel's National Security Minister, Ben Gvir, and Finance Minister, Smotrich. Well, activist Tal Oran joins us now. So, Tal, what was your initial reaction to this pretty dramatic move?
I mean, this is more posturing by, I want to say, I don't want to just blame them on liberal governments, but more liberal politicians that are trying to appease the pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian crowd within their countries. Here's the reality on the ground in Israel. I think you could say probably a vast majority of the population in Israel, at least the liberal population in Israel in the big cities, kind of reject these two ministers. They haven't been the most popular amongst Israeli society. It kind of depends. I don't want to make a blanket statement, but they haven't been the most popular, at least by the liberal vote in Israel. But that being said, you don't see Canada, New Zealand, all these other European nations sanctioning, I don't know, Iranian ministers or, I don't know, Lebanese ministers, Syrian, Eritrean, Ethiopian, Sudanese, Somalian. The list goes on and on and on. Why only in Israel is the question that I have to ask. That's my initial reaction to this whole story.
So the statement says this: settler violence is incited by extremist rhetoric, which calls for Palestinians to be driven from their homes, encourages violence and human rights abuses, and fundamentally rejects the two-state solution. So how would you respond if you were in front of these five Western nations? What would you say to them?
I would say, one, this idea of a settler is so extremely racist. When we choose a Jewish person and we say this is a person settling the land, and a Palestinian, for example, of Arab descent is not a settler in any way, shape, or form. They're grandfathered in to being an indigenous person on the land, when we know Arabs don't come from there. And this is not me saying that Palestinians are not from there, but it is super, super racist to isolate Jewish people only as settlers on the land. That's the first part of the problem with this. And as for the two-state solution, first of all, I believe today Trump's, I can't even remember his name, foreign minister, announced that the two-state solution is dead in the West Bank, dead in the water in the official U.S. stance. I think, was it Mike Huckabee who announced that there is not going to be a two-state solution? At least America is not going to be supporting one. If you look at the map of the West Bank, if you look at Judea and Samaria, it is completely peppered with Jewish and Palestinian sovereignty. It is like a cheese board. It doesn't make any sense. The hope and dream of a two-state solution is so dead and gone that anybody trying to push for a two-state solution, at least in the current framework of the land, is kind of running a pipe dream. What I suggest, let's take a look real quick at the country of Jordan. There is a Hashemite family, a Hashemite dynasty. The Hashemites come from Saudi Arabia. The Hashemites are not native to the Levant. They are not native to Jordan. That is not their land. They are literally a monarchy occupying native land. Parts of Jordan, the entirety of Jordan, could be given up for a Palestinian state. There are many Palestinian individuals also that are coming into the new age now advocating for something like that. You want a realistic two-state solution? Drop the racism of saying that our ministers that are at least trying to support these settlers or these Jewish people reclaiming their ancient ancestral homeland, stop labeling them as racist colonizers and start looking at an actual path that could bring peace. That would be my response.
So, Tal, I've been, professionally invested in, and by that I mean just I've been traveling to Israel. It's funny. As I said that, I feel like I have to clarify. No, I've never been paid by the Israeli government. I feel like that's like something where people are like, oh, see, he's one of those. I'm like, no. I just, as a Christian, I've gone to Israel a lot, and by professionally invested, I mean I've done videos over there, and I've taken groups over there. But I know what the comment section is going to say. No, that's not what I meant. But what's interesting is I've never seen this kind of, for obvious reasons, hatred, vitriol, isolation of Israeli concepts, in the sense that, it's no longer, not that it ever really was, but kosher to stand up for Israel and the Jewish people. And so I know that's basically kind of your shtick online, is like trying to give perspective and give context. But, it's funny. I feel like there's just been bad publicity after bad publicity, except for Greta Thunberg. To me, that was
amazing publicity.
Utterly counterproductive in every way imaginable.
It was our biggest PR win in a long time, the whole Greta Thunberg.
Greta, come on, man. Okay, but in all seriousness, if the whole world seems to be turning against Israel and the Jewish people, but for some reason, those people that just can't stand Israel, and they're going to say everything mean imaginable, that you're just baby killers and blah, 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 blah. But they're watching this video. And they can't wait to go off in the comments and just disprove everything and say like, oh, well, you hate Palestinians and all the things that they're gonna say, but they're watching right now. Mm-hmm. What would your message be to them?
I would start off by saying, I don't hate Palestinians. I don't hate Arabs. I don't hate Muslims. Actually, if you watch my channel, you see my content online, you'll know that with every slap that I give that's criticism towards the Arab or Muslim world, I always give a kiss right after, saying how much I actually love and want to coexist with these people. Everything that I do and everything that I say, even if it sounds rough, comes from a place of love. The second thing would be I'm just one Middle Eastern man. One. I did my DNA test. I know where I come from. It's from that land. It's 100% from that land. You can't remove me from that place. I know where I come from all parts of the Middle East. If you want peace in this region, you cannot isolate Israel-Palestine. You have to look at this as Arab colonialism and every other ethnic minority that's being oppressed in the Middle East. When you look at it at a new framework and you remove the whole Israel-Palestine situation, things start making sense. We have to ask questions like, why are Coptic Christians being oppressed? Why are Maronite Christians in Lebanon being oppressed? Why are Mandaeans and Assyrians that are both Christians and other religions, Yazidis, so many ethnic minorities that are oppressed under the framework of Arab supremacy? Why are we not asking those questions? Why are we only looking at Palestinians and their oppression, which is real, and it sucks and it's a terrible situation? Why do we not focus on anyone else? That's my question.
Well, Tal, I appreciate your time, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me.